Hey everyone, this is Sarah Rayne, and I'm here to bring you this month's collective full moon tarot reading for the full moon and lunar eclipse in Capricorn that is happening tonight. Today, where I am, when I am, is Saturday, July 4th, and for us over here on the West Coast, we have a lunar eclipse and full moon happening tonight at 9:44 p.m. Over on the East Coast, it will technically be early Sunday morning, and that is the astrological event. I just want to say that I am obviously smiling because I'm happy to be doing this work for you, and I'm feeling spirit flow through me and all these things that can kind of elevate my energy. But in general, today and at this time, I'm just feeling that it's a somber time, it's a serious time, it's a kind of a heavy energy. As we know, there's a lot of necessary struggles happening in our world for justice, for racial justice, for social change. We're still in this collective tower moment of everything being torn down because the structures and the systems and who these systems benefit, namely white people and capitalism and corporations, don't serve our highest good as a collective, as humanity, and so we're still in this moment of dismantling these kind of structures that are pretty insidious to our whole life, and it's serious work. It's exciting, it's revolutionary, it's also scary and big and emotional and serious. And why I keep using the word serious is because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is related to the Emperor card in the tarot. And basically what all of these energies are about is this kind of traditionally associated with masculine or grandfather energy. And it basically, it's an earth sign, and it one of the things it's about is this kind of hard work and dedication and seriousness and kind of working steadily towards whatever it is that your goal or your outcome is. And so we're having this full moon lunar eclipse in Capricorn, which is the last eclipse of that eclipse cycle, because eclipses go in cycles and seasons across two axes. So we're having eclipses in the Cancer Capricorn axis because they are opposite signs, and rightfully so, we are in Cancer season right now, and we are having our full moon in Capricorn because they will always be opposite signs. So we are having this big energetic event in Capricorn. We're also in an emperor year because the numbers in the year 2020 add up to the number 4, which is correlated to the emperor card in the tarot. And so kind of our whole year has been, about what are the structures that we have? What are the structures that we're building? What are we kind of working towards and dedicated towards? And what are we using our energy towards, our bodily energy towards? And, kind of everyone is going down this path in their own way, but it's very much about building and structures and systems and kind of coming to this place of dedicating yourself to whatever it is you're dedicating yourself to in your life. And so we've kind of been moving through this journey all year of becoming our own emperor, of being in our own emperor energy, and of kind of taking leadership and taking charge of our situations, our energetic situations, and our life situations. And at the same time, as our own personal, liberation and empowerment is happening, as we are claiming this emperor energy this year, this strong, masculine authority energy, we are coming up in the collective against the old emperor, the previous emperor, the previous structures, everything that's currently set up to rule or control us or keep us orderly. And as we're kind of awakening to our own liberation, we are conflicting with that. So there's just a lot of big conflict, and I on a macro level, we are in the beginning of the age of Aquarius, which is this kind of fabled time when humanity will have this awakening and will understand that we are all, one collective earth and one collective consciousness, and that we all, that the only choice is to treat one another with true equality and to do what's best for not only for ourselves as, the human race, but for the planet as well. And it's, we've been moving away from the age of Pisces, which is kind of the age of, having this like external savior, like, any of the prophets or, the saviors, Jesus, etc., from any of the dominant religions that are happening, kind of have this focus on this external person saving us, this external authority, this external government keeping us safe and telling us what to do. And the age of Aquarius is very much about waking up and realizing that like we are our own authority, we can be our own governing body if we can all act with accountability and with rightness and justness and compassion for one another, for like true heartfelt compassion for one another. So we're in a lot of Capricorn energy right now, and I am feeling it a lot because I have like a bajillion planets in Capricorn, including Saturn, and Saturn had just gotten out of Capricorn, and then started going and went into Aquarius actually, and then started retrograding backwards and is now back in Capricorn, which means that my Saturn return is not done yet until later this year. And Saturn is, again, Saturn kind of rules like working and getting things done and kind of focusing on tasks. And Saturn is back in Capricorn now, although it is retrograding. So we're again being asked to like review what our priorities are in this realm, what we're working towards. And there's an air of seriousness. There's an air of like, it's time to get your shit together. How are you getting your shit together? So I just wanted to say that. And obviously I also want to acknowledge that it's the 4th of July. It's this holiday that is supposed to celebrate America, but everything that America is founded on is false. Most of the white men who wrote the Declaration of Independence owned slaves. And so the premise of liberty and justice for all in and of itself is founded on fallacies. So we're feeling this conflict of like, what's supposed to be happening, what we're supposed to be celebrating, what we've been indoctrinated into, and then what we know to be true, the awakening and the consciousness that's arising in our hearts and souls, knowing that like we cannot continue to go on with business as usual. We cannot continue to go on in a society and in a country that prioritizes white supremacy and prioritizes capitalism, and we cannot be complicit in it and silent anymore. So I feel like I'm feeling the kind of tension and the awareness of that energy today, and I imagine that some of you might be feeling that as well, or might have felt it if you're watching this at a later date. So with all that said, I'm just saying it's a serious time, and yes, I'm still smiling because joy is still important and because it brings me joy to show up for you here and to just share whatever knowledge and wisdom that the universe has deemed fit to share with me, as I'm just a channel for all this stuff for you. Okay, so that's my spiel. Just to briefly talk about Cancer energy, because we're in Cancer season, and it started on the summer solstice and it will go until sometime around July 20th, 21st. So Cancer, if Capricorn is the grandfather, Cancer is kind of the grandmother or the mother. It's very much this about emotion energy, about heart energy. It's a water sign, so water is correlated to the emotions in general. And Cancer is about big feelings. It's about compassion. It's about motherly or parental love. And so I think right now for all of us, I think is in general just a time of deep feeling, a time of feeling into our wounds, of feeling into like what's happening in our hearts, like how are our hearts doing, where are there tears, where are there holes, where do we need healing, where do we need repair, and also like how can we, show up in this loving manner for others, how can we show up as a a comfort, as a person of compassion, as a space holder for others, and how can we show up that way for ourselves. And the card I pulled earlier this month at the new moon in Cancer was Three of Swords in reverse. And so what that was about for us was very much about like getting to the root of our pain and getting to the root of our trauma, and actually like once and for all pulling those swords out, and then not just, and then watching that space where those swords, that pain was, very carefully, and making sure that it heals in the right way, making sure that you nourish it and nurture it with whatever intention and attention you need in order to heal that pain. And we're still in that energy. That card was for all of Cancer season, and so we're very much still in that. So within the framework of knowing that we're in this deeply emotional time, we're going to do our pull and talk a little bit about, some more Capricorn themes, but it's all happening for us right now. So we have 3 cards today, and we're using the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and they're pretty straightforward. So Capricorn style, straight shooter. So our first card is, what can aid us in finding our personal anchors? And this came up because I was just thinking of, like, yesterday I was sitting on this log in kind of like boggy area in Reed Canyon near where I live, and this log was kind of jutting out into the water, and I was sitting on it, and I was just looking, and this whole, everything I could see was water, and then there was this one sturdy structure sticking out, and from that one sturdy structure there were different plants growing, which attracted dragonflies and different insects, and I just had this sense of like being on this anchor, like having this anchor in an environment and in an atmosphere that was like entirely water, entirely kind of unstable and flowy by nature. And I had this sense of being anchored. And I think that in this time, in this Cancer season, when we're having all these feelings and all these experiences, it can be helpful to anchor ourselves to the earth, and to, and part of that is like, an anchor can be just basically what is your core drive and desires and values? Like, what is your purpose? What are you doing? What feels right in your body and in your soul when you're doing it and when you're pursuing it? So I think that it can be helpful at this time to reflect and to see, like, what is your anchor? What tethers you to the earth? What are you very, very, very sure of? And if you're not sure of what you're sure of, then it can be a time to look into that and to then find it and grasp it. So our question is, what can aid us in finding our personal anchors? And so what we got for this is 4 of Swords. And so the swords are the suit of the mind, of thoughts, of air. 4 of Swords, so this is coming up for us today. And again, it's pretty straightforward to let us know that how we can find our anchors, how we can kind of get to that truth in ourselves, is to rest. But it's not the kind of rest where, you're laying down, smoking weed, watching Netflix all day, or scrolling on your phone all day, or whatever it is. It's not the kind of rest where, sometimes that kind of rest is warranted, and sometimes what we need is an escape for the mind because there's kind of too much going on and we just need a break. And if that's like something you do, whether that's reading, scrolling, TV, whatever it is, like, that's fine. But this kind of rest that the 4 of Swords is calling us for is actually a rest where, especially more than anything, our minds are resting, but our bodies are resting as well. So this very much could look like meditation. And so when we meditate, the goal is to be present with ourselves. So this is rest with presence. Generally, when we meditate, one of the ways is to sit very still and just to focus on our breath and allow our breath to be moving. And so when we're meditating, we kind of have this structure of the stability of our body, the vessel and the safety and the strength of our body. And within that structure, that hard, earthen, grounded structure, we still have movement. And that movement is the breath. But by focusing on the breath and by bringing our attention to the body, we're allowing the mind to soften. And we're allowing the mind to kind of let go of some of what it grips towards and clings towards, and some of the ways in which it races around and cycles around with all of these thoughts that our ego mind will tell us, right? So how we are being invited to search for our anchors and to anchor down is to come to stillness within our body. And within that stillness and within being extremely present with ourselves, then we can begin to go deeper into our subconscious. Then we can begin to go deeper and allow messages to come in from the universe, and to find our anchors and to know what's true and to know what's driving us. So the answer is to rest. And this could look like literal physical rest for the body. This could look like, I feel like I'm always telling you guys to go into nature, but it is medicine that never expires. So this could look like going into nature, sitting under a tree, allowing the tree itself to anchor you in that moment, and allowing yourself to like extrapolate medicine from the tree itself. This could even look like sitting in your car, when you get home from work before you have to go see your family or your partner, whoever, like just like sitting in your car and like allowing yourself to have a moment to be present in your body, with your breath. So whatever this looks like for you, the opportunity is there to rest with presence and to discover your own deeper truths. Okay. Our next question is, where are we being invited to open to healing? This one is really funny because we got the Tower. So as I mentioned, we're in a very big Tower moment in our collective experience. And in general, as you can see, the Tower is this kind of moment of like bombastuous, explosive destruction all at once. Not like death where things kind of like decay and it's kind of like part of this cycle, but this shit won't work anymore and it's all falling away because, again, the structures and the foundations that this tower were built upon were never going to hold. They were never going to work. They were faulty. So where we're being invited to bring some healing is in our experience of this collective tower moment, in everything that has happened since the coronavirus epidemic started in March, and everything that has happened with the Black Lives Matter movement, the movement for racial and social justice, with everything, with every way that our world is falling apart and being restructured right now. I feel like we all simultaneously have been having this collective and deeply personal experience of ourselves falling apart and needing to be restructured. And it, as brave as we can be, as in solidarity with each other as we can be, as strong as we can be to show up and, show up every day and do what we need to do in the world, we have still been broken apart by all of this. This is all deeply, deeply painful, deeply emotional, deeply significant. And so what we're being invited to bring attention to is like, where did those cracks and fissures happen? Where have you been broken apart? And are there open wounds still? Are there jagged edges? What is happening? And allowing yourself, especially now in Cancer season, this is a great time to do this, allowing yourself to be vulnerable and to go there and to approach these jagged edges with all of the softness and sweetness and compassion of an idyllic mother figure, to kind of enclose yourself in the Cancerian crab shell and protect yourself so that you can be vulnerable on the inside and do this healing work on the inside. So it's tough work. And, there might be, and it might also be that there maybe are a few other pieces that like are kind of hanging on by a thread that maybe need to like fall away all the way, maybe need to be brushed away all the way. Maybe you need to like make a conscious decision to let some things go that are not serving your highest good, or maybe not. But whatever your situation is, there is an invitation to acknowledge your own vulnerability, your own experience, and just knowing that your own experience, your own feelings, your own pain are extremely, extremely valid, no matter what is happening in the world. And again, we cannot show up in the world and help others if our cups are not full, if we're not nourished, mind, body, and spirit. So this is part of the process of nourishing ourselves, is actually acknowledging our pain and actually healing it, and acknowledging that we are affected by the collective experience. We're not separate from it. Again, Age of Aquarius. We're all in this together on an energetic level, for real. Okay. Last card. How can we build strength in our bodies, spirits, and in the structures in our lives that support us? So how can we build strength? How can we support structures? So this is what kind of follows to like that healing energy, that healing work, is to rebuild stronger and to kind of call in that Capricorn vibe of like, let's build a strong and efficient and like sturdy and, forever kind of new structure that works for us, or at least that works for us for the foreseeable future. And what we got for this is the Eight of Pentacles. So this is very much like slow and steady wins the race. This is very much about not being overwhelmed by the scope of the work that we have to do, both, again, on a personal and a collective level. You can and you should make a plan. You can kind of, zoom out from a bird's eye view and say, like, what do I need to work on? What do I need to create? What do I need to change, adjust? And you can create a plan for that. But then after you make your plan, if you work in that way, after that, you can be present with just each part of your process, being kind of, wholly transfixed and wholly present with whatever the work is that you're doing. And, whatever the work is that you're doing, it's sacred work and it's important work, and any work that supports your thriving. And if your thriving can in turn create more good in the world, more beauty, more help, more hope, more positivity, anything, if you can do any good in the world, then your thriving matters. So we're being asked to have patience with ourselves, and we're being asked again to be extremely present and to know that each detail does matter, not to grow impatient, not to try to rush through the process, not to try to throw up these faulty new structures that will hold us for now so that we can rush ahead, into the fray of the newness, of the change, of the fight, of whatever it is, but rather to take our time with things and to make sure that, what we're doing, what we're setting ourselves up for actually works. And again, having patience, having compassion, but being dedicated to our work and taking it seriously. Look at that serious face. It's very serious. All right, so speaking of serious, that's all I have for you today. I love you very much. I didn't say in the beginning, but this is our collective full moon tarot reading for all of us, and you're obviously welcome to take whatever works and leave the rest. If you have questions, comments, if you loved it, hated it, I would love to know. Please comment below. Wishing you all strength, solidarity, love, compassion, and patience for yourself. And I love you. Goodbye.